Hi, good evening. My name is Kanaram Guma and this is UG Votes 2021 updates. And we're still looking at the campaign trails of different presidential candidates. Now, as we shift focus from the chaos that happened earlier today, which you will later see on NBS Live at 9, let's focus on some of the presidential candidates that have been through some parts of the country. Now, Joseph Kabuleta Chiza, independent presidential candidate, has been through West Nile, Acholi, Lango, and Teso sub-regions. And now he looks forward to going into Kampala and later on, of course, traversing areas of Busoga and many other parts of the country like the eastern. But then, what chances does he stand in winning this election in different parts of the country, given that there are different voting patterns that define how the voting does take place in those different parts of the region? He's joining me tonight on set. Thanks for making time for us.
You're welcome.
How is it going so far? If you could just describe your experience briefly. You've been through the upper part of Uganda. How has it been like?
Well, it's a unique experience because you have a few days in the whole region. You have to meet some people who you perhaps are waiting for you. Maybe send an advance team, collect some people, campaign agents, meet them, talk to them, task them with spreading the message to places you cannot go to. And there is a lot of interest in people wanting to see you, want to see him, but then you have 2 days in that region. Yeah. And probably about, for instance, in the case of West Nile, you have about 8 districts or 9 districts in that place, so you can only do so much. Okay. So you probably go in 1, 2, and then hope that the people whom you task with spreading the message will do as good a job as you hope they will do. Then you move on, and that's how that's how it's been going on.
Let's look at the 3 days: yesterday, today, and your day tomorrow. Or you. At least according to your campaign calendar. Yesterday, you were in Jinja, Kamuli, and Mayuge.
Yes.
And today you were in Kampala. Tomorrow you hope to be in Luwero, Nakaseke, Nakasongola, and Mityana. But let's just go back to yesterday. In Jinja, I just want us to look at how Jinja looked like in 2016 and whether you can challenge these results. Now, looking at how people voted in Jinja, of course, we know now it's a bit divided into about 4 constituencies, but 2016 results show that Yoweri Museveni, NRM presidential candidate, garnered up to 50% of the vote, while the second candidate there garnered 47.1%. Now, what is actually interesting here is that in Jinja now there's a little bit of NRM in terms of like the MP seats. There's a little bit of Alliance for National Transformation. And well, we know that Busoga has now been penetrated by the National Unity Platform. How do you think you're going to change these numbers?
Now, you see, I divide them in so many ways. Now, Jinja has previously was very much from Museveni. And you see there are so many NRM candidates from that place, actually, so many of them prominent. So Besige's 47% was a growing antipathy towards the movement, disinterest, I mean, or say, departure away from the movement. Now, the question is, was it necessarily FDC or was it anti-Museveni? Now, I divide those two because there are places where I know FDC is strong as a party. For instance, I know in Teso, FDC is strong as a party. And they can go there and just by, regardless, even if it was a Tamuriat representing him, if they had somebody else from a different region representing him, they would get votes from Teso because there is respect for FDC as a party. Now, in Jinja, I'm not so sure Besige got those votes necessarily because he's FDC. I'm sure he got them because people were tired of Museveni and were shifting. Now, these votes... Really, this is
quite a big vote, 61,692
That's my
votes.
Point. Yeah, because of course he was the main challenger. So everybody who didn't want Museveni went to him. There are others who are not challengers. But what I see about here is Museveni's will shrink considerably. Now, other opposition candidates will share probably from about 70. I would say maybe 30%. The others share from about 70.
How much do you think, when you put together all the constituencies in Jinja, how much vote do you think you can get from here? Are you going to cut from this Besige vote because it's no longer into the play, or are you going to go for this?
I'll call these opposition votes, not necessarily Besige votes. Okay, although they were Besiges, because, but then this is where we are cutting, and not just myself, everybody else. This is where we are cutting.
Okay, and
because
that is your target also.
I see a lot of anger towards the movement in Busoga region, and I see this is going to shrink so much, and so there will be a lot more for all of us to share from, this election. The one thing you have to understand, Canary, is that unlike previous elections, actually, I was thinking about it, almost unlike any other election in Ugandan history, this is not going to be a dual election. There are going to be so many strong contenders. Okay?
So you do not look.
I do not look at. Now, this was the last, I believe, of the 2 horse races that we are going to see.
The
So
others, the votes are going to be divided.
The votes are going to be divided. And that's, as far as I'm concerned, is actually a good thing.
Okay, let's then look at Kamuli. We know that the national vice chairperson for NRM female comes from Kamuli, the speaker Rebecca Kadaga, and Kamuli overwhelmingly actually supported for the NRM candidate there, did go for 68.5%, while Besigye got 27.8%. Now, Besigye is no longer in the race. However, there's a strong candidate. This is the speaker, Rebecca Kadaga, in Kamuli, who has actually been traversing around the country looking for the votes of the president. Do you think that you can challenge that?
Yes, because first of all, Kadaga is still strong and she's still respected, but now they see her as having kind of fallen off with Museveni. And they see Salam Musumba as somebody who was put there to fight their person.
Yeah.
So, and they see as Salam Musumba being put there by Museveni. That's what they believe. I don't know if that is true. So now, you can cut deep into this without even Kadaga being challenged.
Yeah, but that does not necessarily mean that the people who will not go for Kadaga will go for Joseph Kabuleta.
That's not what I'm saying by any chance, but I'm hoping it is. But then what I'm saying is it's not going to be anything close to this. Because the people of Kamuli traditionally voted, because of course of Kadaga and other people voted Museveni. But now they don't see Museveni and Kadaga as riding in the same boat necessarily. They still love her, but that doesn't mean they still love him. So this is going to shrink so fast and so high. So that means that this percentage, which
for the opposition
is going to grow considerably.
This from 0.61%. Stephen Maureen Charia got 1.1%. But then let's move on to Mayuge. Mayuge, which is also somewhere you were yesterday. In Mayuge, that is how they performed, which is still around the same thing, 62% and then 35%. What do you think will determine your vote here?
Now, what will determine my vote is actually because Kamuli as well as Mayuge, there are a number of things which those people are very angry about. One of them is the sugarcane, the other is the lake, and they have been denied using Lake Choga, and they say it has been given to Chinese. So there's a lot of anger boiling in there. And now the thing is, I studied what other candidates said when they went there, because so many of them have gone there, so many strong ones. Museveni is yet to go. I think he's there around now.
Yeah.
But I don't think they'll want to listen so much to what he has to say. That's the truth. But none of them spoke about the issues that affect Busoga as well as I did. Because I really studied them, and I really went down there even before I announced my candidature, and I went and studied all those issues. And
what was your take on the sugar bill?
On the sugar bill, like everything else, it's there to control. It's like coffee bill, like every other bill.
You do not think it's there to organize? Because the people of Mayuge, that's one of the things that they are looking at. They need a process that should be able to facilitate the incomes of the farmers there that are growing sugar canes and the rest, so that they are able to increase their incomes households.
That's true, but then what they need is to eliminate the middlemen who have licenses to sell, to buy from the farmers and sell to the factory.
That's the message you are preaching.
And that's what they want, because those are the middlemen. The middlemen are the ones who make a lot of money at the expense of the farmers. So what the farmers want is the right to sell their cane straight to the factory, because when they did that, they actually made good money out of it. Now, when the middlemen came, that's where all the problems came from.
Okay. Let me take you to a place you were at today, Kampala, very hotly contested. Remember that still in Mayuge, just 196,000 voters. In Kampala, we're talking more than 1 million voters. How are you? First of all, I did not feel you in Kampala. Where were you? What were you doing? Were you at the church? Is that where you staged your meetings? At your church? Were you in different parts of the Kampala, in the divisions? Where exactly were you today?
No, Kampala, I've been there without even necessarily being there. First of all, before the campaign started, I spent a lot of time in Kampala. And my strategy is kind of going, to people and meeting people privately, not necessarily myself, but through my agents. So I haven't had big meetings, but I've been meeting my campaign agents in Kampala, and those are the ones who are going to take the message.
They're the ones that are taking the message. You do not have the big meetings.
Kampala
of
is so big.
Yeah.
There is very little. It's not like going to Mayuge or like going to Kamuli. It is extremely big, extremely cosmopolitan. Different parts of Kampala have different people based on the tribe of people that they are, what the problems are. You don't have one brush that can paint all over Kampala, because these ones are middle class and class A. The other ones are slum. So different. And even when I'm out of Kampala physically,
your agents are still here.
We'll still be here, and we'll be doing a lot of work in Kampala.
But you see this vote, 65.9%. There's, the growth of National Unity Platform and Robert Chagulanyi, especially based here in Kampala. That's where his most popularity is, at least according to the opinion polls done before. 65.9% that went to Kizza Besigye might actually be going to another candidate who is in opposition, considering what has been happening. But remember, it is 1 million voters. How are you going to cut into this with the growth of national unity platform?
I don't have to necessarily go and get 70% of this 1 million. I don't have, because I know there is a candidate who is strong here. So I have to go and look for places where I'm strong and stronger than him, and there are places like that, and I go and perhaps make up in that place. But these votes, because of the late ballots, you remember in 2016, these percentages, if all the people who were supposed to vote had voted, it would have affected the election much more. Because basically you got 65% of very few people who managed to vote.
The low turn-up. Turn-up and the didn't
vote. Still, but
also, we know you have to acknowledge that Kizza Besigye now has joined the campaign trail with Patrick Kamriato Boy. Mugisha Muntu and General Henry Tumukunde are all also on the campaign trail, and they want to divide that vote, 1 million vote. Actually, it's more than that because it's been 4 years, the voters have increased. So how are you going to traverse all that? It's not just National Unity Platform. You have Dr. Kano Kizza Besigye, who has joined the FDC presidential flag bearer. You have General Mugisha Muntu Greg, and you have General Henry Tumukunde. And the other candidates like Nancy and Katumba. How are you going to make sure that you get a big percentage of the 1 million?
Well, I have my strategy, which I'm not necessarily going to tell you. I'm not, as I told you, I know there's just so much I can do here in Kampala, and I'm going to do as much as I can. But there's nothing, my strategy is different from that kind of thing. And I know that never take voters for granted.